Okay, so I am here with Emily Garcia. Miss Emily, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, absolutely. And you are a graduate from the Dental Assisting Certificate Program at Charter College, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you attended the Pasco campus. Is that accurate?
Yes, I did.
So just to jump in, tell me what encouraged you to or prompted you to go into the dental assisting program?
I feel like it was my mom, to be honest. She told me about the school that, she was thinking of going there for a certain amount of time and she just never really went and she's heard good things about charter. So she's just told me to look it up and
Yeah.
to, talk to them and, perhaps apply.
Okay. So you reached out to Charter College yourself.
Yes, I did.
Okay. And I understand that you don't live in Pasco, is that right?
No, I don't. I live
So
in
you
Prosser.
so you have a little bit of you had a little bit of a commute going there.
Yes, 30 minutes.
Yeah. 30 minutes each way.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you attended, did you know anybody that was attending as well or that attended prior to you going, like a family member or a friend or anything like that?
Not anyone really that I knew. My mom knew of people, but I'm not familiar with their names. But
Okay.
I didn't know anyone.
Okay. So you were the lone wolf going into this all on your own. Did you going through the program, did you meet, individuals? Did you connect with other students and, be able to form, bonds and study partnerships or anything like that while going through the program?
Yeah, I did. I did meet a few of girls and a few guys that, I connected with and, we got to chatting and I got to know them and, we go to study together or, talk about, the courses. And they were all very nice, the students, they were very nice.
Good, good. And tell me a little bit about your instructors, the dental instructors. How were their teaching styles and how did that kind of resonate with your learning?
Yeah, so I had Heidi mainly. She was pretty hands-on, she would review everything before we would go down to the lab. And I feel like that hands-on stuff that she was doing in the classroom before she would take us down to the lab was pretty helpful. And Stacy as well, she would do like a little bit of like I forgot what the app was called, but she would do a little bit of like games and we would have to like put in our answers and it would help us like refresh. And I thought that was pretty helpful that she did that. So both of them were really great.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Is it
Yeah.
kind of like that where it's like Jeopardy where you answer the questions on your
Mhm.
phone, um, or like a smart device and then see which ones you got right and which ones you got wrong so you know
Yeah.
what you need to kind of focus on?
Yeah. It was pretty fun because it was like a game.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I also know that you graduated, you kind of wrap things up in February. Is that correct in saying?
In April. Or
Okay.
we graduated in April, but finished, yeah, in February.
Okay. So you finished your program in February and then the commencement ceremony was in April. So you did attend that then.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of like family and friends that went and supported you at your commencement ceremony?
Yeah, I didn't really invite a lot of people because I didn't really want it to be like such a big thing, especially because a lot of my family comes from farther away. So I just invited my parents and my two brothers and then my boyfriend.
Oh, that's so cool. Were they all
Yeah.
super proud of you?
Yes.
Good, good. Now, I know that in the certificate in dental assisting, your last 5 weeks, your last course is an externship at an actual clinic. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, what was that experience like, and what did you learn when you were, taking all of that, everything that you learned, on the campus, and now you're kind of in the real world setting. Like, what was that like for you?
Yeah, I think it was very helpful. In the aspect like that, I learned how to pass instruments and exactly like which steps we use when assisting a doctor and sterilization and all that stuff. You use that same stuff in the dental field. And I feel like that was pretty, like, how do you say it? Like, accurate
Okay.
from charter going into the field. So I like that. And, I'm still learning more stuff being in the dental office I work in. They work a little bit differently and they work with more high tech kind of products, and those are different, but it's pretty
Yeah.
much the same.
So, when you were at externship, do you feel like that gave you even more kind of hands-on experience so that you could then apply that to your learning so that when you went to seek employment, that was that much more helpful?
Yeah, I do believe so. Yeah. I feel like during externship, those hours that I put in, I learned a lot that I would use in school. And all the knowledge that I learned in school was helpful in externship because if I didn't know what I didn't know going into that clinic, then I feel like they would have been like, this girl doesn't know what she's doing. But they noticed that I knew what I was doing, and I knew what I was looking at, and that's all very helpful.
Yeah, definitely. So when you were at externship, the location, was it an externship to hire, or when you were done with your program, you then um, created a resume and sought employment? Like, what did that look like?
So when I first got to my externship site, um, one of the assistants that I was shadowing would she told me, she's like, we're not looking to hire, but hopefully the manager can recommend you to a really good office and write you a good recommendation letter. So, I worked on my resume while I was there, and then towards the end they did hire me. So that was pretty great that I didn't have to, do the whole process and, wait a few more weeks just to get hired. But I was pretty excited that I was able to get hired straight out of externship.
So you ended up getting hired from the externship site that you were at.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You're like, yes,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So did they create a position for you or did someone leave? Like what ended up happening? Because they had indicated that they weren't hiring at the time. So did something open up or they just really like loved what you did and just said, hey, we want to retain you?
I think they just loved what I was doing there, that they wanted to just, keep me there because there wasn't a place open for like, a new assistant. They were planning on expanding and we are expanding right now, but the rooms aren't finished. So, yeah, at the time they just, kept me for the meanwhile.
They snagged you up is what they did.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Well, expansion's good, even if it's not, complete yet, it will be.
Mhm.
I know that my own dentist, like they expanded about a year and a half ago. And so
Okay.
and the doctor actually brought on his son, who's now a dentist as well.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, they kept it in the family.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah. Um, so I understand that your mom kind of was like, hey, looking to charter college and, those things. But what ultimately inspired you to pursue dental assisting? Did you just kind of feel like, hey, like that's something that you were interested in prior to, or?
Yeah, I was interested in it. Um, I have like a dental hygienist that I know from another clinic that I attended when I was younger, and I got pretty close to her, and I like the field that she works in, and I feel like she kind of inspired me to go into that field. So I feel like it all came from her.
Like, shout out to the dental hygienist.
Yeah.
So can you describe, now that you're working in the field, what a kind of a typical day is in your current role?
Yeah, so like tomorrow is the day that we start, so we have to set up the rooms and the sterilization room and get all of our instruments ready and anything that the doctor is going to use for like restorative. So if we're going to do a crown or some fills, extractions, that's like the main stuff that we do, or just like emergency visits, then I just get like the basic stuff out. Or if we're going to do like a root canal, we have a big old setup, but basically just making sure I have my masks, my water ready, and I have all my PPE, and make sure that all the instruments are sterilized, that way we're not running low, and just making sure exactly what time I have scheduled so I know I'm not running behind or anything. But that's pretty much all I can remember.
And how many patients would you say you see at like a day?
A day, like 5 to 6 patients, I'd say.
Okay. Because each one is about what, an hour, 45 minutes to an hour,
Mhm.
depending on what they're doing, right?
Yeah, but sometimes I do have to like jump from one room to another just because of the expansion, and like we're kind of low on hygienists, so we've been kind of helping the hygienist out. So it's kind of like jumping from room to room a little bit, but
Yeah. So how do you balance that? So I feel like it can be a little, one, it can be hectic, but it can be very busy, right? So like, how do
Mhm.
you keep, you're multitasking. So how do you keep, focused and, you don't lose your mind about it all?
Yeah, so I mean, I just communicate with the patient that, I have another patient to attend, so I'll be around if they need anything, but I make sure, keep calm and, make sure to get everything I need before I bring the doctor in for the next patient. And,
Hmm.
also remind him that we also have that other patient. So we got to keep this, a little quick.
Right, right. Um, would you say like now that you're working in this field, that you want to pursue anything further in the dental industry, or are you feeling like this is so new and fresh to you that you haven't really kind of like set futuristic goals?
A little bit of both. I was interested in dental hygiene when I was attending CBC because I got my associates for dental hygiene. But, I was like, assisting is a first step to see if I actually want to go into dental hygiene. And right now I'm really enjoying assisting, so I want to stay in that for a little bit and then in the future maybe pursue becoming a hygienist.
Okay. And how much longer is dental hygiene? Well, if you have your associate's degree and you've done dental assisting, do you know how much longer schooling would take for a dental hygienist?
Yeah, I actually already started enrolling into the classes because I already have all my main classes that are like that you need for an associate's. And the rest that I need are all science classes, and you can only take like one at a time. So I'm looking at December of 2026 to get into dental hygiene program if I get in.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just like, that's perfect because I'm gonna be assisting for a long time, and, actually really enjoy it. So I
Good.
think it'll be perfect.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That you have kind of a plan and it's, you're following that plan per se.
Yeah.
Um, what advice would you give to current students who are pursuing a career in dental assisting? So if we have somebody that's, looking at charter college and they're they're considering dental assisting, what advice would you give them?
I would just recommend giving Charter a call because they were very, very helpful when I called them. They asked me a whole bunch of questions about whether it would be a great fit for me and what exactly are my goals. And I feel like if you don't have that in perspective, they will help you get it into perspectives if you want to join. But I think it was great. The 9 months it flew by. Like it didn't feel like 9 months. I felt like, it just passed by. So I think
Yeah.
it was great.
Yeah. I mean, I always kind of innate it to um individuals are getting their certificate because it's exactly 40 weeks long. So I'm always joking around with people. I'm like, it's almost like you're having a baby, like, except for the baby don't cry. Like, you get a certificate at the end. You get a certificate
Yeah.
instead of a baby. So there's no crying
Yeah.
involved. I mean, there's some late night study sessions that can be stressful, but other
Yes.
than that,
Yeah. Exactly.
um, did you work before becoming a dental assistant? And if so, what did you do?
Yeah, I did work. I worked in fast food, so I worked at Burger King here in Prosser. That's about the job that I had going out of high school. So I just, stuck there because they work so great with, hours, like very flexible. And I stayed there just meanwhile, I would switch from day to night, but mainly I like to work in the morning
Hmm.
just because, I feel like the customers are a little bit different in the morning. They're less grouchy. I don't know what it is, but
They haven't
I
went
just
to work
preferred it.
yet.
Yeah.
So were you working while you were going to school?
Yeah, I would like alternate. Some days I would go like I had to work that night, so I would go that night and then, do my homework throughout the week or throughout the night when I came back or the next day.
Yeah. So how did you balance that? Because I know you did really good in school. So how did you balance
Yeah.
working and school?
Well, I just, communicated with my parents because I know that, they expect me to get things done at the house too. So I just communicated that and just try to manage my time because I've had the experience from going to college prior to that. So I knew like how much time I needed to study and how much time I would need to do my homework. So I just kind of balanced it out. And then I would communicate with my manager and tell her I need this certain amount of hours or, this day off. So it all just kind of came together.
Yeah. It's also very helpful, like if you have a manager that understands that you're going to school and they can be flexible with your schooling hours to accommodate
Mhm.
like the work hours as well.
Yes. Yeah, she was
Yeah.
very understanding. So it was a great job to have while going to school.
Good. I'm glad that all worked out for you. Um, is there anyone that you would like to give a shout out in terms of, family, friends, campus, faculty, staff, that were just extremely supportive and helpful while you were going through your dental assisting program?
Yeah, my both of my parents, they were both great. They were very supportive in telling me that, that I would accomplish what I need to accomplish if I just put my mind to it. And both Heidi and Stacy, my instructors, they were both very supportive and very helpful and just very caring with their students. And they were just honestly the best instructors.
I know both of those instructors, and they're both extremely understanding, and I think they're very passionate about educating students so that they are successful and they complete their program. So,
Yes,
yeah, they're real neat ladies. I really
they
appreciate
are.
them. Yeah. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to share with me or anyone else watching this today?
Not that I can think of, but just I had a great experience and I'm grateful I did it. So I guess that's about it.
Good, good. I too am a graduate from Charter College, and I've been working with the organization for almost 13 years. And
Wow.
yeah, I've been blessed, but also I'm very proud to be with an organization that can help students and help them to change their lives for the better. And we always have the motto of like we work to get you to work, and ultimately that's what we're here to do, is to help individuals find career paths that they're passionate about. So I'm glad that you are working in the field and that you were able to get hired
Yeah.
straight out of externship. I love to hear when students are like, I got hired out of externship. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
that is so awesome.
Yeah, I'm extremely grateful that I was, and I feel like it's also part of hard work and just, wanting to actually work in that field.
Absolutely. Emily, I thank you so much for your time today. It was
Thank
such a
you.
pleasure meeting with you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, and thank you for chatting with me.